Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone and welcome to our presentations. First of all, let me thank you all for coming here today. Let me start by saying a few words about our background. First is Siti Faudziana as presenters today, and Vina Rohmatika as presenters, and the last, Zahra and Audyta as presenters too. And let me introduce myself, Anci Anjani as moderator today. As you can see on the screen, our topic today, structure and meaning of things in written, spoken, audiovisual, advertising, and body language. Introduction about this topic. Literally, work is an autonomous world, which is not bound to the real world and does not revert to the real world, except through the meaning of elements of the language used in it. As to 1984. In literary work, there are rules, system, and convention that allow the scene to have meaning, and semantically, literary works that represent an era are perceived. The awakened world is a world filled with things as intermediaries between literary works and all aspects discern literary works, as well as those in the literary work itself. Structure and meaning of things in written language. When people ponder the word communication, they often think about the effect of talking. We rely on verbal communication to exchange messages with one another and develop as individuals. Written language has some texts that give information about something or some product. Verbal texts are further into two. There are spoken texts and written texts. Verbal communication involves the words said, while nonverbal communication consists of how the words are spoken. When we speak, we are communicating much more than just the content of our words. For the example is the Latin alphabet is the most widely used in script, with nearly 70% of the world's population employing it. On the screen for the example is smoky creamy kebab Turki, gurihnya rendang.
Okay, my name is Vina Rohmatika. I will present the first material, that is structure and meaning of signs in written language. When people ponder the word communication, they often think about the act of talking. We rely on verbal communication to exchange messages with one another and develop as individuals. Written language has some texts that give information about something or some product. Verbal texts are further divided into two. There are spoken text and written text. Verbal communication involves the words said, while nonverbal communication consists of how the words are spoken. When we speak, we are communicating much more than just the content of our words. Example, look at the pictures. The Latin alphabet is the most widely used script, with nearly 70% of the world's population employing it. The next material is structure and meaning of signs in spoken language. Language is primarily spoken. Speech was adequate for meeting the communicative and social needs of nomadic communities. The speaker pronounces spoken language to the listener. Spoken language is a form of communication in which people make sounds with their mouth. As with the structure and meaning of signs, spoken language itself is a accompanied by intonation, connotation, and expressions in the form of the speaker's pronunciation, which is continuous with the word they say and leads to an understanding of the meaning absorbed by the listener. Example, the greeting, "How are you?" and the natural response, "Fine, how are you?" Spoken language in advertising is usually in the form of advertising slogans, which contains information about a product and use persuasive sentences. Signifier, Indomie goreng, bikin nonton bolamu semakin semangat lagi. Signified, a sentence is a persuasive sentence that calls for the audience to use the product with the main target market being football fans.
And the next one is body language. Body language is the unspoken part of communication that we use to reveal our true feelings and to give our message more impact. Communication is made up so much more than words. Non-verbal cues such as tone of voice, gestures, and posture all play their part. A simple example of body language is relaxed facial expressions that breaks out into a genuine smile with mouth upturned and eyes wrinkled. Equally, it can be a tilt of the head that shows you are thinking, an upright stance to convey interest, or hand and arm movements to demonstrate directions. It can also be taking care to avoid a defensive, arms crossed posture or restlessly tapping your feet. For more example, there are fingers that are intertwined with the palms and pressed together, indicate that we are in a state of stress, worry. And the next one, nail biting is a sign of insecurity and nervousness. And then arms resting on the stomach indicates that we are in a relaxed and open position. And for gestures are a type of body language which involve communications via body movement. Context is an essential consideration for correctly interpreting gestures. One example is eye contact. If you were engaged in a conversation with a friend, you would probably make eye contact with her to demonstrate that you are listening and giving her your full attention. Gesture is a form of non-verbal communication with the actions of a body that looks communicate specific message. Gesture can we say as a substitute for talking. Gesture follow the movement of the hands, face, or other parts of the body. And gesture language, a sign language. Gesture also are scientific, more pure, and people can find out what is presented when we speak, based in Alan Pass.
Okay, so the next material will talk about structure and meaning of sign in audiovisual language. According to Vina Sanjaya, audiovisual media is these types of media. Besides containing sound elements, it also contains audio elements which are viewable image, such as video recordings, various movie sites, sound slides, advertisements, and so on. You can see in the next slide there are two examples of audiovisual language. In this example, the video shows the person talks about ayam pop, and there are also the text and also the sound. So it contains both sound element and audio element. The next one is ayamnya gurih, sambalnya nagih. The next material is the last material. It talks about structure and meaning of sign in advertising language. So, in marketing communication and advertising, semiotics play a key role in determining the success or failure of any endeavor through the effective deployment of verbal, visual, and performative, for example, actions by the customer, elements, companies can strengthen their reach to their customers. These symbolic elements include logos, ritual, cultural symbols, colors, iconic individuals, text, advertisement, websites, physical environment, hospitality and service, taglines, and other touchpoints. The primary purpose of semiotics is to decipher the principle, symbols, ideas, and metaphor associated with a particular domain or ongoing cultural text, which may include websites, advertisement, packaging, or editorials, or etc., to facilitate our interests. As far as semiotic analysis is concerned, the question is of the signifier, the symbol or object, behind the conveying of the meaning, and the signifier, which may include the theme or cultural domain the signifier seeks to evoke. For example, you should ask what cultural values or symbols an advertisement for a product like rum is trying to convey. Another example is the symbol and values that brand advertising tries to convey to teenagers. As you can see, the purpose of semiotics is to help evaluate such cultural text from heterogeneous perspective. This can be launching a new product brand, positioning an existing product brand, or even trying to resonate with a particular audience group, regardless of the type of promotion you are trying to do. The application of semiotics in the advertising industry is crucial to the success of such advertising. As such, semiotics greatly contributes to attracting the attention of the intended target market. Such target markets might be teenagers, or adults, men or women, or any specific gender. How specific text, image, colors, and additional characters play an important role in the success of your advertisement. It is also important to note that the application of semiotics in advertising also depends on the type of product advertised in such advertising. I think that's enough.